can't hold on.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I'm Saladino. Now, I've been playing a lot of Indivisible lately. I've been playing it off and on for months. I did a video about this game months ago, and I talked about the platforming and how bad the platforming is, how tedious, and how it's designed to inconvenience you, the way the developers set it all up. So I had beaten the part I was at that made me do that first video. But ever since then, I would only be able to play bits and pieces at a time because the platforming would just get worse and worse and worse. They would even upgrade your main character, Ajna. They would upgrade her skills, but the platforming would always get worse because of it. It wouldn't be better or easier. The developers would just find ways to make the platforming worse. It got so bad like a week or two ago. They make you, at the point where I made the video, I didn't realize that you would have to do that section all over again. But sure enough, second time in the story, you have to do that section again. But now there's more challenges, there's more platforming. So much, in fact, that I'm playing for like an hour straight. And it's just going and going and going. And I have no idea when this shit's going to end. Because there's constant platforming. Every time you get past the point, instead of just saying, okay, you've done it, here's the boss, they're just adding more platforming. I'm like, okay, what is the fucking point to this? Like, at a certain point, we get it. There's platforming in the game. I fucking get it. I don't need any more of this shit. Like an hour of this crap. And it's not just me, it's a get good situation. So it's not just I'm missing stuff and falling and have to start all over again. And that's why it's taking so long. That's part of it. Because half the time the fucking buttons don't even work. Like, this is a poorly designed game in a lot of ways. When I got it last year on sale. It's been out for years. I didn't know much about it. When I heard about it, I just liked the look of the game. It's beautiful, colorful. I liked the look of the characters. I thought Ajna, the main character, was cute. I thought there was other really attractive characters in it, women. And this looks like it's fun. It's like a turn-based RPG thing. I'm not the biggest fan of turn-based, but it looked fun. You get the game. The turn-based stuff was fine. But all of a sudden, like I talked about in my first video about this damn game, all of a sudden this goddamn platforming starts taking over. And it's literally the reason why it's taken so long for me to get through this game. That and the fact that the map doesn't work. So Indivisible is probably, and I mean this unironically, I think I don't hate a game more than I hate Indivisible. I truly despise this game. Even more than The Last of Us Part 2. With The Last of Us Part 2, they killed Joel. That was bad. But it was the Abby section that I hated so much. It was such a chore and grueling to get through. I hated every moment of it. But at least with that, what the devs, Naughty Dog, was doing with that. Now, it was manipulative. It was forced. It didn't work. I didn't care anything about Abby at the end of that section. But still, that was their point. But with Indivisible and all this fucking platforming. And funny enough, the platforming is not even the reason why I'm making this video. But it's leading up to it. So, with all this platforming, and I'm telling you, you have to climb this mountain 3 times. The first video I made, I had no idea of this. I was climbing the mountain that first time. And like somebody else said, I think on Reddit somewhere, the platforming isn't even natural to the environment. It's stupid shit like, there's a platform. You jump on the platform. Half a second after you jump on the platform, it disappears temporarily. For no reason. No mountain has this. Nobody would build anything like this. There's these weird spikes. There's different types of spikes. Some, at a certain point, you can shoot an arrow to put flowers in the path so you don't hurt yourself on the spike. So you can pogo on your spear. You get these skills as you go through the game, which is supposed to make the platforming easier. It almost never does. Because the devs keep doing things to make it inconvenient for you. Again, this isn't a get good situation. Somebody was talking about Gears of War and how tanky and bullet spongy the enemies get on higher difficulties. And he's like, this isn't difficulty, this is cheating. And that's what it is with Indivisible. They're not making it a challenge, to help you get good or to use the skills you've gotten. They literally find ways to stop you from using those skills that they gave you in the first place. The best way I can kind of try to describe it is like Hideo Kojima, something like Metal Gear, particularly Metal Gear Solid 5. Metal Gear Solid 5, you get all these different skills and tools and shit to just go through the game world and do stuff. Get a water pistol. Why would you need a water pistol? Why do you have this? Come to find out, you can use the water pistol to short out generators, to cut the power from enemies' camps or stuff like that. You have a dog. The dog will help you find, I believe it'll help you find animals, but also animals, and it'll help you find flowers, things that you can use for the trank gun. Also, you can tell the dog to urine, to urinate on the generators and short it out. You get C4. You could use it, of course, to blow up tanks or whatever. But also, if you've played the game more than once, you get to a certain section, right? I think it's the Devil's House, I think it's called. You get to the Devil's House, and you know what's in there. So you get this C4. There's a water tower outside of the Devil's House. You could put the C4 on the water tower, go inside, do what you have to do. When the boss fight happens, you could just, activate the C4 and end the boss fight immediately because the water tower douses the flames out, right? What the pieces of shit at Lab Zero did with Indivisible is if you get a skill like that, they'll find a way to negate it. So you can't think outside the box, as it were. You're constantly just fighting the new shit that they've created to make it difficult still. And so, like I was saying, at least with The Last of Us Part 2 in the Abby section, the point was to try to get you to empathize with Abby or see things through her eyes, even though she sucked. But you look at the platforming. The platforming is just there to inconvenience the player and to pad out the game. This was a Kickstarter campaign. I don't know much about it. I think that the guy who ran it, who was in charge of it, either quit or was fired or something because of some scandal. I don't know anything about it because I don't care. It was more about when I was reading other people's reactions to the excessive platforming and the final boss fight, which is what's finally got me to make another video about this piece of shit game. But when people were talking about it, they were mentioning, oh yeah, the game wasn't finished, or there was, a lot of issues with it. It should have been patched, but then the studio shut down, blah, blah, blah. So what should have been patched for sure was the ending. But I just realized that as you're playing through it, 3 times you have to go climb this fucking mountain. There's so much backtracking. And this is not like a Metroidvania where, because you get new skills, you go to areas that you couldn't go to before to access it. No, you're just going back to the same areas that now they've made them longer and they've made the platforming and sequences more complicated. If I've put in about 40 something, almost 50 hours in this game, most of it is literally getting through platforming sections and trying to find out where to go. The map is fucking horrible. There's different quests that they won't tell you half the time where to go. Sometimes they'll give you a quest marker, other times they just won't. And when you complete a quest, you can't just go back to the person you need to go back to. Like most games will just say, okay, you're ready to go back, and then it'll boop, you're back there. They don't let you fast travel. This is a relatively big map because it's confusing. It's a lot of areas to get through, especially with all the stupid platforming. They don't let you actually just fast travel. You can't just go, all right, hit fast travel or go to a fast travel point. There's a couple of chakra gates to each of the main areas. There's 4 or 5 of the main cities you can go to. But each chakra gate is pretty much at the bottom of each area. And so that means basically from the bottom of where you've used the chakra gate to go from, say, port whatever to the Iron Kingdom, you have to then go from the fucking bottom of that kingdom, jump through all this shit, go through lava, go through all this stuff just to get outside to then go and talk to people. If somebody sends you on a little boring side quest, you can't just go to the side quest and go back to the people who gave you the fucking quest. You got to go through jump through all these hoops, literally, just to get back to them. And, you can't, like I said, you can't fast travel. You just use these gates, and these gates are they're put and situated in the most inconvenient places. And that's what these asshole developers do throughout the entire game. They keep making things inconvenient. So even though they give you a dash and a double dash and a higher jump, all this stuff, they always find a way to fuck it up so that you can't just flow through the game. The 3rd time you have to go up to the piece of shit mountain. Now that you could get easier through some of the hoops that you had to jump through before, now they put monster bosses in the way. So fine. They're relatively easy to beat, especially since by this point you've maxed out your party offensively, so you can do a lot of things to them. You beat them up, then you try to do the platform sequence. The problem is now what they do, beating the monster boss isn't enough. You then have to platform. If half the time the buttons don't work, so if you fall, you miss something, you'll hit these spikes that glow, and these stupid glowing spikes start you back to the checkpoint. And they always do it where they situate it where the checkpoint is after a save bell. But if you try to go back to a save bell to save after you beat a boss, you got to jump through all these hoops again to get back to it. So it's not worth going back to save. You're just going to deal with the checkpoint. So you fall, you hit these glowing spikes, It'll start you back at the checkpoint, but the checkpoint doesn't just start you back from when you jumped and tried to do your platforming. It'll just send you back to the fucking monster boss, so you fight the boss again. And the problem isn't necessarily fighting the boss, it's the fact that you don't want to keep doing this. You want to just deal with the platforming. They do this a lot though. So I'm at the final boss, and what these fucking pieces of shit have done in this fucking game is you get to this final boss, they've ratcheted up the difficulty insanely, and they've taken away all of your fucking skills, and they've put all these several phases to the fucking boss in it, and they don't give you save points. You have checkpoints, but you got to keep playing the game. You can't just stop and say, okay, I've beat the first phase of this boss, I've talked to my party, now they've taken the party from you. You basically tell the party, I got to do this alone. For whatever reason, they just set the game up like this. So now you tell everybody, okay, I got to do this alone. So you're telling everybody they can't help you in this second fucking phase. So then, instead of just giving you a fucking save point, you just got to keep playing. And there's different phases to the second fucking phase. And what you're doing, you're supposed to do perfect blocks. And the way it's set up, again, you can't dodge. They've taken away all these powers from you. You had all these skills up to this point. They've taken it all away. So now, all you can do is try to do perfect blocking, which buttons half the time don't work. So you don't know when it's going to work or not. You have a small health bar, you get killed, you got to start the shit all over again. And there's no save. So, like I said, there's 2 phases to the boss. You get this last power called the Divine Wheel, which makes you jump even higher. For whatever fucking reason that I don't understand, the boss says, I don't want to fight you here, you got to chase me. So you got to chase after this boss to use this Divine Wheel. There's this ping pong looking section. Pinball section, where you're trying to do this Divine Wheel. You got to keep constantly spinning this wheel that you're in this form, and you got to avoid these spikes. For whatever fucking reason, you're losing health just by using this power. What's the point of getting this power if you're losing health? It's hurting you. I'm losing health, and then they put not just spikes in the way, but these just random pieces of shit things that have never been in the game. There's just these weird things that you hit. They're just in the way to help stop your progress. And again, you're losing health as it is. So if you don't get through this pinball section perfectly, they make you start the whole thing all over again to the last time you saved. Finally get through that, you get to the boss. There's no save point. Like they just take a cutscene. The cutscene takes over. They don't let you go, okay, I'm at a new level. Normally, there's a save bell you can save. They don't do that. They just let you, like I said, they just take over. You gotta start fighting this boss. And they don't explain to you as you're fighting the boss keeps swallowing you up. If you don't fight your way out of it fast enough, it'll start the cycle over again. This thing has 18 health bars. So you gotta keep fighting it, you gotta figure out that you gotta, when it tries to swallow you, that you gotta mash all the buttons really fast to get out of it. Otherwise, like I said, it'll start over to 18. You can get it down to like 6. If it swallows you and you don't get out in time, it starts it all over to 18. You can't save. You can't stop playing. So you do that. At a certain point, you take a break and go talk to your friends. At this point, like I said, the party says, we're going to help you. Let's go back out. And she goes, no, Ajin, the main character. No, I got to do this by myself. All right, fine. You go back out there. None of your skills are there. They're all taken from you, except for what you started the game with. You can't do double dashes. You can't do this. You can't do none of that. And you have to do perfect blocking. So there's different sections of the perfect blocking. Finally got through one section. And then there's another section where she's going crazy, this enemy that you're fighting. And there's all these fists, all this stupid shit. And I just stopped. If they at least let you save in between phases, if they at least let you keep the skills that you worked to get up to this point, that'd be fine. But this is ridiculous. And they're making you do something that you don't spend a lot of time in the game doing. Perfect fucking blocking. And again, you can't rely on the buttons. The buttons don't work half the time. If you're trying to jump to something, you'll miss a lot of jumps because she just won't do what you ask her to do. Perfect block, I'll do it. It'll work sometimes, other times it won't. I'm watching people on YouTube. They beat it. They go through a lot of stuff. One guy said, yeah, you just got to practice a lot and you just got to play it a lot. And it took me a while to get here. I had to edit it down to finally get to this point. And I'm like, I don't think that this is worth doing. At this point, I've played so much of the game that I hate to just quit right at the end. But this is taking so much out of me. And it's like, again, for no reason that this is here. This game should not be this long. They give you a terrible map. You can't fast travel. Everything is built. Every city is like a maze. And you got to go through all this crap just to get to, you do these side quests for these guys, your party members. These side quests are so tedious that it'll be something like, oh, this bell is broken. Me and Kushi, we want to go and repair it. There's a guy in another city who can do it. You go to the guy in the other city, and it takes forever because you can't just fast travel there. You got to go through all the shit just to get to this fucking clown. The guy sits there and goes, I don't believe you are real about this. I need you to prove it. Go do this. You go do that. It takes forever to do it because you literally have to go climb that fucking mountain again. And they put that at the same time that you need to climb the mountain to fight the final boss. So you go through all this shit. You take a detour to fight this stupid thing that this guy wants you to do to help build this bell, repair this bell. Then you got to go all the way back down, go to him, and he'll tell you, okay, meet me in this other city so we can make the bell. So it's like, oh, and you can't just go back to the spot that you left in the mountain. You got to go climb the mountain all over again after you've done this stupid shit with the bell. It's truly insane. So I always talk about how, I'm indie, all this, not Indiana Jones. I'm all on the indie craze, right? AAA has just let me down. But I said this in my previous game about Indivisible. The big issue with indie gaming is stuff like, well, this is a Kickstarter campaign. One guy said, I wanted to play I backed a cool turn-based RPG adventure, not all this platforming bullshit. A game that's mostly padding. There's no quality control. There's no testing. Like, nobody said, you're making the player climb this fucking mountain 3 goddamn times, and each time, even though you've given them more skills, you've made it worse and longer for no reason. Like, literally, by this point, all you should do is go, okay, let's go back to that place we fought the boss before. Just teleport you there, and you just start from there. But no, they start you at the bottom again. And like I said, they don't give you the room to use the skills they gave you creatively. They know if you're going to try to do something, like, maybe I can angle from the side and use the axe hang this way. No, you can only use the axe hang twice. If you jump once and use it, you can't jump a second time and use it. You gotta wait. They always find ways to stop you. Yeah, at this point, I don't know if I'm going to finish this game, but it's just funny to me that a game that should be so simple, has these colorful characters and it's got a lot of humor to it and a little bit of heart, it's ruined by poor leadership in insane sociopathic developers. I can't get over just how terrible so many decisions were in this game. Like a lot of people said when they talk about this game, I really wanted to love this game, but this game spits on you.
Even though I don't want to, and you're leaving, and I don't even know what I mean when I say that I like you. This is so embarrassing to talk about. I just want to set you on fire.
I'm sorry.
You don't get it.
I like you too, Rasmi. I'm glad we're friends.
That just makes it worse. Well, go then. See if I care.
I'm happy I met you, Rasmi.
Go away. I know you're not coming back. But your soul might. If it does, I'll find it and trap it. And then you'll never get away.
That's the old Rasmi.
We're breaking the law, breaking the world together, throwing out all tenderness. We're breaking the